Welcome to the Fierce as Fuck podcast. I'm your host, Amanda King, and I'm here to teach anybody who wants to fucking listen how to have the audacity to say fuck it to societal standards and live their most authentic life. This podcast is dedicated to bringing sexual conversations from behind closed doors onto the main fucking stage. Because sex, masturbation, squirting, guess what? It's all fucking normal. And by bringing these conversations to the forefront, we help people feel less alone in this world. We help them feel safe. We help them gain their power back, step into their confidence, and have the ability to express themselves authentically as fuck in this world. Because it takes fucking audacity to be your truest self. And we have boatloads of audacity up in this bitch. So let me ask you this. Are you ready for some epic shit? Hello, everybody. So we are back answering questions from Facebook DMs. So this person said, you have a podcast about when your partner shuts down intimately. And in that episode, you mentioned an episode to refer back to about reconnecting with your body. I'm having trouble finding that on Spotify. Is there a direct link by any chance? So that episode about reconnecting with your body, I did probably at the beginning of 2022. And since the last episode we did was dedicated to seduction and how to turn yourself on when you want to ultimately take over the world with your seduction powers and your natural magnetism, and we discuss a little bit about mirror work. And mirror work is such a huge fucking thing. And mirror work is part of the process of reconnecting with your body. So I want to talk about in this episode ways to reconnect with your body, kind of revamping the old episode, I guess, or I honestly can't remember what I spoke about in the episode. So just readdressing this issue because some of you may have heard last week's episode on seduction tips and you may have gotten really stuck on this aspect of like, oh, fuck, I don't even know how to be sexy. I don't even know how to connect with my body. I don't even know how to turn myself on. So how the fuck am I supposed to turn on the world if I can't even turn myself on? All really good questions. So, in this episode, we're going to discuss this how to reconnect with your body. So, typically, when we are reconnecting with our body, this is due to a lack of intimacy or an increase of overwhelm or both. Typically, what happens and what she's referring to in the episode is when a person, man or woman, this applies to everybody, when a person is feeling very stressed out, overwhelmed, anxious, they're feeling like they're drowning, they are feeling like they are struggling, surviving day to day, they will ultimately go into freeze mode. Now, freeze mode is what we, as part of like the three modes of survival. So we have fight and flight, which we hear about all of the time, right? So when we're in survival mode, you either fight your way to survive or you flight, you flee in order to survive. What a lot of people don't know is there's a third aspect of this. And I didn't even know until I read it into the book. I think it's Come As You Are. Where she discusses freeze mode. So freeze mode is actually a third option when we're in survival mode. Freeze mode happens when we're overwhelmed and we're stressed. And basically what we do is we shut down bodily functions. We shut down aspects of ourselves that we do not feel like we need in order to survive. And you see this in like the animal kingdom, right? A possum. When a possum thinks its life is being threatened, it will play dead. Therefore, whatever is attacking it will think it's already dead, will think, well, there goes the chase. I don't want dead food. I want him to kill my food. Will walk away. Ultimately, that possum will survive. This is what freeze mode is with humans. It is your partner feels so fucking overwhelmed that they feel like they are barely making it through the day. And so they shut down an aspect of themselves in order to survive day to day. What is the number one thing we tend to shut down in our lives is our intimacy, our pleasure, our sexual desire, because we believe that we do not need to have sex and feel pleasure sexually in order to survive, which is false. And like, don't get me wrong, I used to believe this too. I actually convinced myself for a while I was asexual. And there are definitely people who are out there who are who are asexual, and I'm not invalidating their experience or invalidating them. This is just through my own personal experience, is I was saying that I might have been asexual. I was believing that I was asexual because I thought I could live without sex and I could live without pleasure. And I was in survival mode so bad. And I'd shut down intimacy so bad that I didn't even like being touched. Like my friends, if they hugged me, they would make me laugh because I didn't like being touched. So they would always get kind of weird around me when they would want to hug, or they'd always ask ahead of time. I never really was a PDA person. I never was a handholdy person. And this wasn't my entire life. Like I was definitely a sexual being, and I was definitely someone who really enjoyed intimacy and PDA. And it wasn't until probably my late 20s that I shifted completely into this non-intimate person, because of a lot of things happening. And so I was stuck in this mode, and this is where people get stuck, where they believe they don't need sex in order to survive. And so they stop having sex and they stop all sexual content, contact. There we go, contact. So this isn't even just like, oh, well, I'm not having sex with my partner anymore. This is, I'm not fucking myself anymore. I'm not touching myself. I'm not masturbating. My sex drive is non-existent. And even when my partner, who was like so understanding during this time, he never pressured me, he never did anything, but I always would sit down and I'd be like, it's not you, because it wasn't him at all. It wasn't him at all. It was, I was in this like trauma response, just trying to survive way of living. And I believed I didn't need all of that to survive. I needed him and I needed the connection aspect with him, but I didn't need all of the touchy feely shit, which was a lie I was telling myself, because I was so overwhelmed and so much in survival mode that I didn't believe I really truly deserved that either. And so when you are in this freeze mode, you have to kickstart yourself, right? And this takes some time, energy, and some fucking patience. Because when you kickstart yourself from this lack of intimacy and this lack of just stuff in general, it is like opening Pandora's box. Because typically during freezing as well, you will ultimately shut down your emotions along with it. Because once again, if you feel, you can't survive. So you almost have to go into this numbing phase. So when you kick yourself out of freeze mode, it is a fucking tsunami of a shit show afterwards. Not trying to scare you, 1,000% worth it, but it is a lot to deal with. And one of the things you have to do in order to get yourself out of freeze mode is start to be intimate with yourself. It's reconnecting with yourself first before you can reconnect with other people, because ultimately partners are supportive typically, and then they're trying to get them out of freeze mode and they're like anxious. They're wanting to connect again. And you have to be understanding with it. They're wanting to be intimate. They're wanting to connect. They're wanting to have sex again. And the more pressure you put on a partner during this time to have sex, the worse it's going to get, because it's going to neatly make sex a chore and an obligation rather than something that they want to do. So if your partner's in freeze mode, do not fucking pressure them to have sex. You need to take a back seat. This isn't about you. This is about getting them the help they need in order to get out of freeze mode, which ultimately starts with connecting with themselves first. So the first thing you need to connect is with your source of pleasure, which is your body. And this is the hardest thing to do, because during this time, and maybe I'm projecting, this is like something I personally went through and we talked about on the last episode, like during freeze mode, I wouldn't even look at myself naked in the mirror. I wouldn't touch myself. I owned literally, I think, one clitoral vibrator that I had for like ever. And I never used it. It sat in our sink, like in the bottom of our sink in our old bathroom for fucking probably 5 years before I touched it. I literally didn't touch myself. I didn't want to touch myself. There was no drive there. And so at the beginning, you've got to start reconnecting with your body through physical touch. And if you're freaking out and you're like, I don't want to fucking touch myself, I'm not at that point of masturbating. That's okay. We have some steps beforehand. Number one, I just want you to start looking at yourself again. And this is being fully clothed in front of a mirror. Just look at yourself. Look at your body. And when you're looking at your body, don't be critical of your body. We as women innately, and men do this too, we pick apart our bodies more than we'll ever praise our bodies. And I know it's hard to quote unquote love your body. And I'm never going to be that person who says like, oh my God, you need to love your body and everything to do with it, because I don't think that that's even fucking remotely possible for some people. And I don't think that telling us that you can't hate your body or can't have days where you feel like shit is also bullshit. So I would say rather than focusing on loving your body, start focusing on respecting your body. Look in the mirror and say to yourself, what do I respect about my body? While looking at yourself. So this could be like, I respect that my body has gotten me this far. I respect that my body has birthed how many children. I respect that my body got me through this. I respect that my body is functioning today. I respect that I have muscular thighs. I respect that I have cellulite on this area. I respect this area where I don't have cellulite. I respect. Because you have to respect your body. Your body is beautiful. Even if it's not where you want it to be right now, doesn't matter, it's beautiful. It has always been beautiful. It will always be beautiful, but it's never going to get where you want it to be if you cannot respect where it is currently at. So this is about just looking in the mirror, looking at yourself and allowing yourself to see yourself. Because like I said in the last episode, you cannot expect other people to see you if you can't even see you. And right now, this isn't about other people, but you still need to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, she's a great person. She's a beautiful being. She is magnificent. She is strong. She is caring. It is about looking in the mirror and just being present with yourself. Step one, do that every single day. And if the idea of doing it every single day is so daunting to you, do it 3 times a week. Don't make excuses. Do it. I promise this is going to be, it's going to be worth it, although it will be a little tough. The next step I want you to do is after you've gotten comfortable just seeing you and just respecting your body, I want you to start looking in the mirror and saying what you like about your body. What do you like about your body? So I like, or you can still use the word respect, that I have strong shoulders. I like or respect my breasts. They're great. Love my breasts. You can say love too. I respect my muscular thighs. And this is once again fully clothed in front of a mirror, because what this is doing is it's starting to get you to focus on everything that you actually like about your body rather than everything you hate, because we ultimately will pick ourselves apart quicker, meaner, faster than anybody else will in this world, right? I make a joke that when people say mean comments to me online, I'm like, that's funny because I've said so much meaner to myself. No one is meaner to you than you are. And so this is about stopping being mean to yourself and literally just standing in front of a fucking mirror, which is so simple and yet so complex, and seeing yourself and saying, I like this. I once said to a client, when I was a confidence coach and I was helping her with her confidence, I once said to her, tell me everything that you don't like about your body. Holy shit, the laundry list of shit that she had. And then I said, what do you like about your body? She goes, my eyes, but I wear glasses and I cover them up. Even when we try to give ourselves something that we like about ourselves, we'll negate it right after, because we are told that if we like something about ourselves, that makes us vain or egotistical, which is all a bullshit lie just to make you feel small. And so when you're saying these things, like, I like my strong shoulders, do not follow it with a but after, or some negative connotation afterwards. It's not, I like my shoulders, but they're a little too wide, or they're a little too, what's the word I always tell people, broad. No, it's, I like my shoulders. I like my ass. I like my breasts. And that's it. That's it. No negating, no sitting here thinking, oh, well, I need to do this better, or it would be better if I fuck off right there. Stop. Because this is what's gotten you here, and we're trying to get you out. And until you can really look at yourself and see yourself and respect yourself, once again, you can't expect other people to do the same. So stand in front of the mirror. Step one, respect, I respect, I respect. Step two, I like, I like, I like. Focusing on the positive. Step three, starting to touch your body clothed in front of a mirror. What this does is it gets you feeling into your body again. When you are coming out of freeze, you are typically, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. You don't like physical touch. You don't want people to fucking touch you, right? You can't even touch you. You don't want other people to touch you. Touch has become this negative thing in your head, because touch means that you're going to have sex, which is an obligation in which you just don't have the time or energy for. So we need to reframe what touch is for you. So ways to reconnect with touch is get in front of the mirror, look at yourself, and just put your hands on your body. And this is fully clothed. This is sitting here, and if you're wearing a sweater, like I'm wearing a sweater now, kind of just like tugging on the sweater a little bit, running your hands down the material to feel the sweater. Like mine's a little bit got like knit to it. I'm pointing it out like you guys can fucking see this, but like I'm like putting my hands through the knit, right? I'm rubbing my hands like up and down the sweater. I'm not technically touching my own skin, but I'm touching something that's on my skin. I'm using my hands, which is feeling the friction of the sweater. The next thing I'm going to do is, like, I'm wearing a low cut shirt. So if you're in the mirror and you're wearing a low cut shirt, putting your fingers underneath the shirt so that you are skin on skin contact, and then just brushing your hands up and down the shirt. If you are wearing a shirt that covers your chest, maybe lifting up the bottom of the shirt and rubbing your hands across your midsection. If you're wearing shorts, rubbing your hands up and down your thighs. We want to give you skin on skin contact, because when you, this is what I call sensual touching. When you start sensually touching yourself, you are awakening this pleasure inside of you because it feels good, right? Do you remember when you were little and you were like, you needed to be comforted and you were so upset? Typically, like you would have a parent or a friend like play with your hair, or they would like run their fingers down your back, or some people like their arms like scratched or tickled. That's because it felt really good, because physical touch does feel good, and it awakens nerve endings and desire and just feel good hormones. And so being able to just, while you're fully clothed, start focusing on skin contact is going to get you more what's the word? It's going to get you reconnecting with your body again, because all of a sudden you're going to hit a certain spot while you're touching your skin, and you're going to think, God damn, that feels good. And you may feel like a little clench in your thighs or a little warmth in your belly, all good things, because pleasure is good. We are reawakening pleasure. The next thing that you're going to start to do is explore your body in a sexual way. Now, does this lead into masturbation? Yes, ultimately, that's where we want to go. Does it need to start there? No. So this is maybe while you're home alone, sitting here and rubbing yourself. You can do this fully clothed, rubbing over parts of your body that feel good. So like taking your hands and running them over your breasts, right? It's not touching the nipples per se. It's just running your hands over your breasts. It's running your hands down your thighs. It's tickling your thighs. It's scratching your thighs. It's running your hands up and down the sides of your body and paying attention to your body and where you start to feel that warmth. that tingle, that, oh, that felt really good sensation. Because eventually, when you lead into masturbation, these are the areas that you want to start focusing on and start touching again. So, sitting here and being able to kind of awaken that inner desire again, because you're starting to feel good and safe within your body. The step after that is, if you're doing this fully clothed, is to get unclothed and do it undressed. Unclothed is not a word. So you can do this one of two ways. You can do this in front of a mirror where you are standing, and I do this all the time, and it doesn't make you weird or a freak or anything. It just makes you look at yourself, right? Because once again, we're so negative on ourselves. But if you've ever stood in front of a mirror and actually like naked and touched yourself, and I don't even mean touching your pussy, I mean like just rubbing your hands on your breasts, rubbing them on your stomach. It's really powerful to see you do that. It's a turn on to watch yourself touching yourself. It's a way that you're visually like you feel that you're reconnecting with your body, but you're also visually seeing it happen in front of you. And so this is a time where you get in front of the mirror naked and start touching your body. Now, if that makes you feel like you want to fucking die, or you're cringing, or you're just like, I can't, I challenge you to be uncomfortable, because this is going to be an uncomfortable process. But I think that society makes uncomfortable things like a bad thing. It's not. It's a good uncomfortable. You have to stretch, you have to grow, you have to get out of your comfort zone in order to achieve anything you want in this life. So sitting here and doing it in front of a mirror, or literally just, if you can't do it, get on your bed, strip down, and just start touching yourself while lying down. Get in the most comfortable position. And once again, you don't have to touch your nipples. You're more than welcome to. You don't have to touch your clit. You don't have to touch your pussy. You don't even need to come anywhere close. You just want to touch your body. So reconnecting with how good that feels, how much it turns you on. So if your like finger grazes over your nipple and all of a sudden you feel that tingle inside of you, do that. Remember that. Keep doing it. Let your body feel what pleasure feel like again. If it's gripping your own ass, if it's like cupping your breast, if it's pulling your own hair, do it. Reconnect with your body. Ultimately, the goal here is to eventually get to the point where you feel so good doing this, you want to masturbate, because you need that release, because your body is starting to say, that feels really good. I want to continue with that feeling. I want to take it to the next level. I want to try this. And so being able to lead into masturbation is where we want to go. And this may take some time to get there, right? You may not be comfortable jumping right into masturbation during your first session. If so, phenomenal. But if it takes you a few dozen times to do this, to just get in touch with your body again, that's okay. Another place to do this would be in the shower or the tub, somewhere where you have alone time, right? If you're putting soap on your body, how does it feel, that soap, when it's on your naked body? Or putting lotion on your body? Start just the things you do every day to nourish your body, whether it's to clean it, whether it's to moisturize it. Focus on how it makes your body feel. This is you getting back into feeling. And then when you're ready to masturbate, do it, and do it in any way that you want to, meaning do it in the shower if that's where you feel comfortable. Do it standing up, do it sitting down, doing like, use whatever toy, if you want to use your hand, if you want to rub up against a couch, like do whatever makes you feel good without any shame or guilt associated with that. Meaning, after you masturbate, don't sit here and be like, oh, that was a waste of time, I shouldn't have done that. Focus in on how good you feel, how great you feel afterwards. And also with masturbation, sometimes there's a lot of emotions that come up during masturbation. So if you have an emotional, what's the word? An emotional reaction after masturbating, you start masturbating and you're like, oh my gosh, like you end up crying at the end. That's okay. Let it go, release it, That's what masturbation is for. It's to release things that you are holding on to, good things and bad things sometimes. So the next step is, if you are frequently masturbating, is to start, and this is a step where I lose some women, and that's okay. If I lose you here, you've done your journey up to this point, and that's totally okay. And there's no anything about you. But the next step is to start watching yourself masturbate, whether this is doing it in front of a mirror or watching it on camera, recording yourself. And this is because this is how you see what your body can do. And you don't even really, like, in a way, need to film your full body. If you're self-conscious about that, like, put the camera between your legs a little bit and just watch what happens to your vulva during orgasms, because it's pretty fucking incredible once you look at it, once you watch it. And like, this was the hardest part for me when I started doing this, was watching it back, because I was like, oh my God, I can't. This is like so personal and so intimate. Yeah, it's extremely intimate. And that's why we want you to do it, because this is about getting intimate with yourself again first. And being able to watch what your body is capable of is a massive turn on, because you recognize how cool your body is, how powerful it is, and how society has made you fear your body when there's nothing to fear. It's this beautiful thing that produces these beautiful orgasms, and it pulsates and it vibrates and it stimulates and it all feels really good, and it squirts and it comes and it ejaculates. It does all of those things. And being able to see that happen with yourself is really going to help you dismantle the shame you have and guilt about your body, and recognize how fucking powerful it is. And this was the biggest thing that I think personally, in my personal experience, that awakened my sexual journey, was watching myself. Some at first I would have to do it like where I'd only watch like 30 seconds, or I would watch it like fast forward. But it ultimately started helping me realize that I'm allowed to feel that pleasure, and I should be happy and honored and praise that pleasure rather than fearing it, because it's not, quote unquote, what society wants us to do. And so recording yourself or watching yourself in front of a mirror is a huge step of this, because it harnesses the intimacy you have with yourself. Now, after this, after you're starting to get intimate with yourself again, after you're starting to turn yourself on again, it's going to be a bit easier to start being intimate with your partner. And this doesn't have to start jumping into sex right away, right? Because ultimately, love them. It's not about them, it's about you. So this may be just holding your partner's hand a little bit more. This may be deepening a kiss with your partner. This may be kissing your partner more on the cheek, on the lips. This may be cuddling a little bit more. This may be sitting closer to each other on the couch. This is whatever you want it to be, because every ounce of intimacy is a little different with people. So take it at your own pace. Communicate with your partner what's going on so that they understand and they don't put pressure on you. And then when you're ready and you want to have sex, have sex. And if you're still not there, but you want your partner to be involved, you can always ask your partner to watch you masturbate, or send them the recordings so they can see it. This is optional. You don't ever have to do this, because once again, it's not about them. But if you get to the point where you do want to share this with them, that's something really intimate to share that I'm assuming, and I'm pretty sure they would fucking love. So if you can't get to the sex portion just right away, this is another option that can help them feel like they're part of the process. But ultimately, this is about reconnecting with your body again. And I hope this episode helped, or like the revamping or the repeating of this episode in newer context has helped you connect with your body again. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message on Instagram, on Snapchat, Facebook. If you like this episode, share it with other people. We always appreciate the love. Write a review, whatever you can to show us the love. I just want to thank you all so much for being here. I love you all. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to the Fierce as Fuck podcast. And some parting words for you today. Remember this: no matter how hard society pushes you down, no matter how many times you fall, as long as you get the fuck back up, they can never stop you. You are unfuckable with. You will win. Don't allow this world to dictate how you show up in it. Don't allow society to make you bend the knee. Instead, make them bend theirs. And don't forget, if you like what you heard, go on to iTunes and Spotify and leave your girl a review. Until next time, my